I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for NXT and 205 Live, where I take a look at each show, segment by segment, and award each little bit of grade from A+ to F. So, yeah, last week was a bit of a bust because, you know, it was post-Mania. 205 Live had a little bit of setup. NXT was just NXT post-takeover. But this week, hopefully, we're going to see a little bit more in terms of story development, because obviously we've had the superstar shakeup, so people are leaving, things are changing, everything's going a bit weird. But without any further ado, hit the intro. So we start things off with 205 Live, as we always do, and coming to the ring are Lucha House Party. Well, it's Gran Metalik, but Lucha House Party are all out on the ramp with him, and again, second time this has happened, it was just really weird. It's Lucha time! Except they speak a little bit of French as well, so yeah. But the first match of the night is a fatal four-way match. Drake Maverick's on commentary, and the match is Gran Metalik versus Akira Tozawa versus Mike Kanellis versus Ariya Daivari. So to start things off, Daivari gets straight out of the ring, and then Metalik and Tozawa dump Kanellis to the outside. There's then a ton of flippy reversals, back and forth, and almost a dive until Daivari finally gets in the ring and levels Tozawa. Kanellis then starts to bring the heat, but Metalik quickly makes good work of him. It's actually a pretty well-paced start to the match, and we get to that point in all fatal four-way matches when it's two faces versus two heels. They form alliances and they start to team up. This, however, breaks down when Kanellis goes to kick Tozawa and nails Daivari in the face. In retribution for that, when Kanellis goes for a pin, Daivari pulls him out of the ring and then powerbombs him off the apron to the floor. There's then a great moment where three of the four men hit top rope divey moves, and it culminates with Daivari hitting his splash, but he can't pick up the three. Metalik then manages to hit a Rana over the top rope on Daivari, who's on the apron, sends him sailing to the floor, and Tozawa follows it up with a dive. Tozawa does seem to be the hungriest competitor in the match, though. Every single chance he's given, no matter what, he's taking it. Although when he's got Mike down in position and he goes for his senton, he's once again distracted by Ariya momentarily, allows Mike to quickly capitalize. He eventually manages to hit the senton in this moment, but he meets Mike's knees. Mike then hits his finish, goes for a pin, but he sees Metalik springboard toward him to break up the pin, rolls away. Metalik then hits Tozawa, and then Daivari comes in, dumps Mike to the outside, and picks up the pin in true opportunistic fashion. I'm gonna give this one a B-. Everybody got their stuff in without it feeling like a spot fest. I really, really like that. And also, Daivari is undefeated so far this year, and he's an absolute heat machine. He's just going to keep generating heat until people really want to see him get his arse handed to him. We then go backstage, and it's Oney Lorcan, and he's had a shave, and he says that Cedric may well be the person that's leading 205 Live, but Cedric is now on his way out, and he wants to be the person to take over control. He wants to prove that he's got what it takes to lead 205 Live into a new future. And then we cut to Cedric, who just sort of wistfully talks about his legacy and about how he's going to Raw. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Oney Lorcan versus Cedric Alexander. The story in this one is, I guess, more of a grabbing of the torch than a passing of the torch. So both men are on edge, they're both got each other scouted. It's just a lot of back and forth. Nobody's getting the upper hand. Lorcan eventually manages to grind Cedric into the mat. Cedric is able to get out of his funk, and he hits a couple of drop kicks. One of them looked really nasty, and he takes Lorcan out. He then dumps Lorcan to the outside while connecting with a high kick while he's on the apron. Lorcan hits the floor. Now, I don't know whether that nasty looking kick to Lorcan's face that I just spoke about before actually connected or anything, but there's a really awkward moment here where he seems to be openly conversing with the ref. He may be a little bit dazed. I hope I'm just reading a bit too much into it, but I was quite worried. But the referee seems to be telling him to move back and get ready for a dive, so he does so. Cedric comes sailing over, and he doesn't quite land properly. He hits the floor sort of elbow first, and the back of his head just goes like wham into the crowd barrier, and the noise is horrible. It's just this like deadening thud. It's awful. Back in the ring, Lorcan is in control. Even though Cedric does sometimes manage to get himself back up to his feet, Lorcan's able to capitalize and take it right back to the mat. And then the crowd start chanting CM Punk like a bunch of dicks. I know that you have to sit through 205 Live to see your dark match main event, but come on, it's more wrestling for your money. Just enjoy it, just go with it, it's good. Cedric hits a springboard flatliner, but it doesn't quite put Lorcan away, and so he goes for a Michinoku driver, and same result. He attempts to go for the lumbar check, and Lorcan has it scouted, and then he goes for the neuralizer, and Lorcan cuts him off. with a horrible looking uppercut. Lorcan then hits a powerbomb and locks in a single leg crab, and he gets a lot of good torsion on it. It looks horrible, and Cedric is selling it like it's just the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. Eventually, Lorcan takes things to the top rope for like a half and half attempt, but he gets blocked. Cedric pushes him to the outside, and he hits a tope. As we start to wind down the match, there's a really nice moment on the apron where both men are exhausted. They're just staring at each other in anger. They're grabbing each other by the face. They're slapping each other. They're trading blows. And he just sells how much both of these men want to be recognized as the leader of 205 Live. Lorcan, however, is able to grab hold of Cedric, hits the half and half on the apron, the hardest part of the ring, dumps him back into the ring, hits another one, and picks up the 3. And then post-match, both men stare at each other. Lorcan walks over to Cedric, extends his hand, and they show each other respect, shake hands, and that's it. Cedric Alexander is gone from 205 Live. I'm going to give this one a B+. Both guys look great in this match. They both just, it's so good at storytelling, the pair of them, and I can't wait to see more from Lorcan. But, you know, Lorcan will always be, if this is the end of Cedric on 205 Live, he'll be the guy that retired him from the Cruiserweight division. And, you know, they could use that down the line if he goes mega heel. They could maybe bring Cedric back for a week. You could do all sorts with it. So, quite excited to see where Oney Lorcan's going to go. And then overall this week, I'm going to give 205 Live a B. The opening match was a hell of a lot of fun. Daivari picking up the win despite doing none of the work was great. He's just going to turn into an absolute heat machine, as I said. You've got Lorcan, who's now trying to rally 205 Live and lead it forward into a brighter future. It just feels like a lot of things got done this week. It just feels like 205 Live has been given a fresh breath of air, and everything's just nice. Maybe it wasn't enough setup for people for future storylines, but you know, we need these moments, this setup, all of this stuff so that we can actually progress. But that was 205 Live, let's get on to NXT. Oh, lovely tie change. I haven't referenced that in a while, so I thought I'd drop that in. But we open NXT this week with Purple Patrick himself, the Velveteen Dream, and he's going up against a returning NXT big boy. That's right, the opening match of NXT this week is Velveteen Dream versus Buddy Murphy. How is this not going to be the best match? Like, how is this not going to be incredible? Look at it. Look at what both those guys are capable of. I'm already calling it that this match is going to be pure, unbridled filth, absolute pornography, if you will. So to start things off, Murphy is on the aggression trip. He's trying to tie Dream down. He doesn't want to get on the wrong side of him. He just gets his head in a vice and he will not let go. Eventually, Dream manages to get free, gets him into a vice of his own. He escapes. Both men stare down and Full Sail goes wild. There's a great bit of back and forth with Dream ending up on the outside. Murphy teases a dive, but Dream gets back in just in the nick of time, and he's on his knees and he's looking up at him, and Murphy just punches him in the face. He almost picks up the 3, just bang, drops him. He then sends him back to the outside and connects with the dive, if you wanted to know. Murphy does manage to slow down the pace. Dream is fighting back every step of the way, but Murphy manages to drive him into a turnbuckle. Dream eats a lot of offense in the corner until he's able to turn the tables with a super kick. He sends Murphy to the outside and he connects with his flying elbow. A little bit later on, there's a moment where both men are up on the turnbuckle and they're just trading blows. Both fall to the outside simultaneously. The referee counts to 9. Both make it in just before 10. Murphy then hits a leaping sunset flip, which Dream manages to catch and roll through into a Dream Valley driver, but he can't put him away. There's then just a lot of near falls here, a lot of power moves, a lot of near falls, a lot of power moves, a lot of near falls. It's building the drama perfectly. Eventually, out on the apron, Murphy hits a high knee that knocks Dream out. He's just on the floor. He's just gone completely limp. Murphy is trying to pick him back up. Referee's counting. Referee gets to 9. Murphy, out of anger and frustration, has to go back into the ring to break the count. He wants to win the belt, so he's got to go in, come back out, but this proves to be his downfall. He finally manages to get Dream up and into the ring, and as he's climbing up, he's hit with a Famouser, a Dream Valley driver, and a Purple Rainmaker, and Velveteen Dream picks up the 3, retaining his North American Championship. I'm going to give this one an A. Obviously, I said going into this that this couldn't be a bad match, and it was not a bad match. It was incredible. And for Murphy to come out at Full Sail to that response, it just makes me so sad. I would have loved to have seen him just another year in NXT, just come back down and just go on a tear. But at the same time, you can't wish for people to go back down to developmental. You know, he's going to do much bigger and better things on the main roster, but I don't know. Just the crowd were absolutely enamored with him. And if you just think all the things he could bring to the table for NXT now that they don't have a high flyer in Ricochet, It would have just been so perfect. We then go backstage and the Street Profits tell us that they are presenting an episode of Street Talk, and in this episode, they're going to go and make their own opportunity. You can't wait for opportunity to come knocking for you. You've got to go and knock on its door. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to go knock on William Regal's door. So they knock, and then out come War Raiders, or as they're now known, the Viking Experience. It all ends a little bit flat, really. It's weird. They build up this whole thing of going to knock on Regal's door, and then out they come. It's really funny because the music stops when the door opens and it's those two, but they just sort of go, we're going to face you next week, careful what you wish for, and leave. We then go back to the ring for an in-ring segment, and it's Johnny Gargano, and he says that if you refuse to take no for an answer, you, like him, can achieve your dreams. But just as he's about to continue, he's cut off by the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole immediately gets on the mic and he says, I'm not going to stand here while you have another love fest with the NXT universe. Cole said had it been any other match at TakeOver, he would have beaten Gargano with that first fall. He says that Johnny's an idiot and a complete punk. Gargano then says, oh, is there trouble in your little boy band? And he asks Cole whether they're all in sync, like, you know what NSYNC, yeah, see what he did? Gargano then says when all was said and done, he won the match, it wasn't definitive, it was undisputed, and this riles Cole up to no end. Gargano then offers to face Cole again. Immediately, Cole starts to walk down to the ring, but Gargano is then jumped from behind by Roddy Strong. It was a ploy. It was a ploy all along. The Era beat him down. They hold him up. Like Adam Cole grabs the belt, holds it to his face, hits him with a super kick. Yeah, stand tall. Referees come out. Get off him. Like that sort of stuff. I have no other option but to give this an A. I really, really want to see Adam Cole with that title, and if the promo game's going to be this strong getting there, then yeah, I'm all for it. We then go back to the ring for Frye versus Dominik Dijakovic, and this match goes as follows. Big boot, 3 count. The one thing I will say though is that Dijakovic has possibly the most underrated heavy theme in WWE, so if you don't agree, then fight me. Afterwards, he gets on the mic and he says that his family gave him the opportunity to be in NXT when they came from Croatia to America, and that their passion and their drive flows in his veins, and he makes it very clear that his intent is the North American title. I'm not going to grade this one. I'm just not going to grade it. The promo was pretty good, but the match was just a big boot. I can't even justify it by calling it a squash. It's not even a squash. It's one move and a 3 count, so no grade. We then go backstage and the Undisputed Era run into Kathy Kelly, and Cole says, Johnny Gargano is too emotional. He fell into their trap. They had that planned all along. Regal then appears and says he's just had a lovely conversation with Gargano, and Cole's like, okay, well, when am I going to face Johnny Chump Change? And then Regal's face goes all smirky. He informs Cole that it's not him that Johnny wants to face. Instead, for the championship next week, it's Roderick Strong. The other members of Undisputed are all sort of like, oh, that's really awesome, but Cole looks pissed, and the seeds of dissent have just been sown. We keep it backstage, and Ariya and Vanessa Bourne just say that Candice got lucky last week and that next week they want to face her in a tag match, so she needs to find another loser to tag with. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Kairi Sane in her, I guess, farewell match in NXT versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna outpowers Kairi in the opening segment, driving her into a corner, but Kairi's able to get free because of her natural athleticism. She's a lot faster and a lot smaller, so Shayna is a bit gangly and she can't really keep hold of her. She hits a sliding D, a crossbody to the outside, and then back in the ring, comes off the top rope with a diving fist. It's quite clear that Kairi is desperately trying to put Shayna away early in this one, but it doesn't quite work. Shayna connects eventually with this brutal looking knee. Shayna keeps the strikes coming and she eventually goes for a sleeper, but Kairi's able to get free. There's a little bit of back and forth and Kairi locks in the anchor. Shayna makes it to the rope despite selling absolute agony, and Kairi holds on until 4. She's really milking the referee count. And then in a really horrible looking moment, Sane climbs the turnbuckle and hits the insane elbow to the back of Shayna's head. She goes for a second, but Shayna gets up and blocks her. Shayna goes for a superplex, gets pushed down and sort of caught in the ropes, and Kairi hits a double stomp. And then the match takes a strange turn. Shayna gets driven to the outside, and Kairi goes for the flying kabuki elbow, but Shayna ducks and moves away, and Sane connects her elbow with the crowd barrier just straight onto there. The referee immediately gets in the way, and he's trying to check on Kairi, make sure she's okay. Shayna, however, is having none of this. She just grabs her from in front of the referee, takes her back in the ring, and starts applying horrendous levels of torsion to that right arm. Shayna attempts a cover, Sane kicks out, and Shayna then tries to lock in an Americana, and Kairi is just, it sounds like she's about to burst into tears. She just makes it to the rope to break the hold, and then drops to the floor on the outside. And at this point, the referee really gets serious. He's trying to stop the match. He calls a doctor down, and then immediately after the doctor gets there, Io Shirai comes sprinting out to check on her friend. There's just this discussion going between Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, the ref, and the doctor, and the ref is adamant. It's like, we need to put a stop to the match. It's not going to continue. And while all this is happening, Shayna just reaches over with her big arms and just grabs Kairi in a chokehold and lifts her up over the rope. It's just brilliant. Shayna drags Kairi in, she does that twisty arm thing where she stamps on the elbow, she's getting ready to set it up, and then Io Shirai comes in, makes the save, match gets thrown out because of DQ, but it all starts to go wild. The horsewomen then jump the ring, they start beating them down, and then they take Io to the outside. They, just have her life basically, and then they grab her by the head, they hold her up, and they make her watch as Shayna stamps on Kairi's knackered arm. I have to give this one an A. Surely we couldn't hate Shayna Baszler anymore, and then she just comes out consistently and makes herself even more hateable. It's great. She's a white hot heel, and it's just, I can't wait to see her drop that belt. It's going to be fantastic. And at the same time, it's thrust Io into the spotlight as a mega babyface. She was just trying to protect her friend, and now she's had to watch as her friend gets her arm destroyed. It was a bit of a strange note for Kairi to leave NXT on. If this is the end for Kairi Sane in NXT, I think it is, because, superstar shakeup. But at least it's given us those things. And in terms of an overall grade for NXT this week, I'm going to give it an A. It was a solid episode, which it always is. You always have that episode after TakeOver where it's just like exhibition matches, little bit of storyline and backstage promos that we've all seen already on Twitter. But then the week after, that's always when the real stuff starts to happen. I can't wait to see where the jealous Adam Cole storyline is going to go with Undisputed Era. I can't wait to see what's going to happen between Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler. I can't wait to see Dijakovic versus Dream. It's all popping off. I'm so excited. But anyway, that was graded. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.